from a business standpoint, I think ESG, environmental, social, and governance are three central pillars used when measuring the sustainability or ethical impact of an organization. I think currently there are almost more than 80% of corporations in the S&P 500 that are already publicly reporting their performance against these ESG standards. And in the real estate industry, I think historically, environmental initiatives such as reducing energy or water usage have been attractive to the asset owners because of their tangible financial benefits, such as reduction in operational expense and expenditures. So in other words, I think investors have and are coming into realization that sustainable investing isn't just good for the planet. It can also be good for investment performance as well. And also with the help of modern technology, it can now kind of advance to the point where if you just do a little due diligence, we'll basically uncover all the bad actors or underperformers in the market. For example, you can now use big data. There are many classification algorithms and outline detection that can easily show kind of like what companies are highest percentage of waste production. And also with social media, and there is abundant information you can find online. There are also other algorithms to rank whether a company is actually doing what they claim to be doing. And also with the growing popularity of wireless connectivities within buildings, you can now have the integration of AI and the Internet of Things into standard operating processes. And these all have potential to improve nearly all aspects of building management, for example. With AI, things like data from sensors and meters can be collected, and you can automatically analyze and identify areas of operation improvement, which can not only detect, but you can also predict and respond to anomalies. This will create significantly opportunities for companies to leverage technology to advance environmental performance, as well as create efficiencies across all the other elements with development. It is always a great challenge to find and strike the balance between design, commercial viability, which means to kind of reduce costs and maximizing profits, and to be environmentally conscious. I think that's why at the onset of a project, especially when you're working and dealing with various stakeholders and big teams, I think it is important to kind of define the KPIs that are mutually agreed upon, that we have measurements to define the success of an outcome. So in terms of buildings and constructions, I would say the green standards such as LEED, LED, and BREEAM are good reference and perfect examples, as they can help predefine the parameters of how a building is considered green and environmentally friendly. And to a certain extent, these measures will also reap financial benefits in the longer run. So satisfying all design, commercial viability, and having a green, sustainable building, and providing the right equilibrium for the stakeholders. And it is with these green labeling schemes, I believe they're a good benchmark to provide not only just independent recognition of a building's low carbon and resource efficiency credentials, including aspects like energy, water, and biodiversity, but also its ability to provide a comfortable, safe, and attractive environment for the people who work in it. Because after all, buildings are there to kind of enrich our lives and not to destroy it. So, and equally at the corporate level, I guess I've been quite fortunate in the fact that the companies I've worked with all had a strong emphasis in promoting, the wellness or the well-being across the workplace, ranging from your physical health, like exercising, eating healthy, to mental well-being, such as stress and having a work-life balance, or more at a philosophical level, such as inclusiveness, cultural diversity, and providing equal opportunities. Because we all believe that well-being is an investment in the world's most valuable asset. Which allow me to talk a little bit about marketing, because this is what I do for a living.
Yes.
From my experience, marketing as a discipline or as a business function, it's often and very much misunderstood, especially within our industry, the real estate industry. I think a lot of the times marketers tend to be mixed up with people in sales and business development, or being regarded as just someone who does and helps with organizing events, or even just someone to help post things on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and what have you. I think that's very unfortunate. That being said, as far as ESG is concerned, I believe there is a much bigger role for marketers, not only to help promote, advocate, or increase the awareness of ESG, but more importantly, is to help define and shape a business ESG's proposition to ensure the story being told is actually indeed true and authentic. So in other words, your customers, stakeholders, and investors must believe in the values, the outcomes, and the goals communicated are indeed embraced and strategically kind of weaved into an organization's fabric. And I feel that most real estate companies and developers out there in this region of the world, this part of the world, are still slightly falling behind. So there are room for improvement. But it's funny, having said that, on the contrary, I think the tech companies in general does a far better job. And I think mainly for two reasons. One is because most tech companies are relatively young and new. And they still have this startup culture kind of mentality in the DNA. And they believe in empowering and engaging their employees in ESG efforts. And I guess secondly, most of the company founders are also generally younger, which means they understand and can resonate better with the younger, the newer generation of consumers, their needs and concerns with the social and environmental impact of corporations. And you can also see many companies are starting to realize that ESG can make very good business sense. So for example, according to a recent research by McKinsey, I think close to 60% of millennials are willing to spend more on brands with a corporate social responsibility commitment. And they will also reward them with brand loyalty, all of which makes ESG marketing, telling a genuine story ever more so important.
No, thank you.
Well, Stephen, to answer your question, I would say technology would still be the key.
Yes.
As far as technology is concerned, I would say that China, since I'm based in Hong Kong, is probably one of the, early adopters and pioneers in applying AI, artificial intelligence, cloud computing, IoT, Internet of Things, and data into building and construction industry. I think the experience and applications of MIC, modular integrated construction system, which Stuart mentioned, are well documented. For example, they can easily build an entirely new hospital within 10 days, as it was demonstrated, during the early days of the coronavirus, to accommodate, the seriously ill and to fill the emergency patients, and also building a 10-story high residential building in under 28 hours. I believe this is still currently the world record. So speed is obviously important, but the technologies that have been applied also enable greater efficiencies in labor, reduce wastage of building materials, which in turn reduce carbon emissions at construction sites. Speaking of technologies, I think there's another emergence of the e-commerce and the mobile applications. So I'll take China as an example. They have introduced recently a number of so-called amended premises, from convenience stores to supermarkets to even a hotel, such as the Fly Su Hotel by Alibaba. So guests can now do everything from reserving a room and checking in online using just facial recognition, to turning out the lights, drawing the curtains and adjusting the air conditioner, all without human assistance. And these are all possible thanks to robots equipped with artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things technology that kind of connects all the devices to the internet. And all of these measures mean, operating costs at amended smart hotels, such as Fly Su, are now only 60% that of conventional hotels. And also with automation, it is all possible to save on water and electricity as well as labor costs. And with IoTs, you can also collect a lot of useful data to help improve the overall services and your customers' customer journey and guest experience. So to answer your question, technology would be the key.
Ken, thank you so much. And your examples really